comment section and let me know where you are joining me from. Hi, everyone. My name is Flora Bezi. I am a digital accessibility expert, consultant, and founder at Linoratech. Linoratech is an incredible company with the value and mission to help and support leaders and professionals in creating easily accessible and inclusive digital product like website application and PDF documents. We want to make sure that everyone feel welcome and included in experiences. And I'm talking about people with visible and invisible disabilities as well. Now, again, this platform is meant for everyone, so I want to welcome you here. Don't feel shy to say hi in a comment. I love when people engage with me. Please let me know where again you are joining me from. If you're hearing something that resonates with you, come on, give us a thumbs up. Feel free to share this episode with people in your network. We want to embrace and invite more people to the table because I think that these topics that I'm sharing here are so important. I am a Black woman. I'm always smiling. Or some people will say, you're always laughing, Flora. And that's true. I'm actually currently rocking, right? Long wavy, kind of black and red wine hair, and I'm wearing a blouse that is yellow and black. I am describing myself because in my audience, oftentimes we have people with visual impairment or people who are blind. And guess what? Today we are going to talk about maps. Did you know that some maps are not inclusive to everyone? Well, if you didn't know, today I have the perfect guest speaker to tell us a little bit more about maps and the little challenges and solutions that could be, leveraged to make everyone experience feel included and welcoming. So enough about it. Let me just welcome my guest speaker, Brendan.
Thank you for having me, Flora.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you, Brendan. Brendan, I see a few comments. Let me check those. And please, people, welcome Brendan as well on the platform. And don't feel shy. Don't feel shy. All right, so let me see. I see Sonja is here. Hi, Sonja. She said, hi, Flora from Gilroy, CA. And Brandon's mom. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, your mom is online. Brandon, no pressure. I see also Aisha Sharma. If anyone needs a 508 compliance, so please contact. Quite interesting. I love when people like to share on the platform. Thank you for sharing, Aisha. And I see also Steph. She said, I'm Steph joining from Austin, Texas. Yay! Oh, Steph, by the way, I used to live in Austin, so beautiful place. I see also Frankie. Yes, Frankie, hello from the beautiful state of Washington. Oh my goodness, this is so nice. Again, please say hi. Let us know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, you can still comment. Trust me, Brendan and I will go back after the show, read your comments, and respond to them. All right, Brendan, enough about the chit chat talk. Please let us know who you are and why accessibility.
Yeah, you introduced me already, and pretty much, I mean, you already said this, but I'm blind myself, and so I'll tell a little bit about who I am. So I grew up in Walla Walla, Washington, and moved to the Bay Area when I was about 16, and got my undergraduate degree in music and studied opera singing, and then I very soon after that started a company with my mom where we provided teachers of the blind and visually impaired and orientation mobility specialists to schools around the U.S., Sonia Biggs Educational Services. And while I was working there, I saw that the issues that I was having with accessible content, trying to get accessible content, was not exclusive to me. Every single blind child was having issues trying to get accessible content, and it was so expensive and so difficult to get accessible content. I just thought that there needs to be a better way. There needs to be some answer here. And it was about that time when I took a class in product design because I was getting a minor in marketing. And during that class, I learned about this idea of universal design and inclusive design, and I was like, "Wow, this is a really cool idea. I wonder if there's a master's in it." And sure enough, Ontario College of Art and Design University in Toronto has a master's in inclusive design. So I applied to that program, and very shockingly, I got in, and it was an incredible program, and that's really what brought me into digital accessibility as professionally. Before that, it was all just personal stuff. I would do all kinds of beta testing for places like Google and Apple and Microsoft, and I would also do. I knew I had all kinds of technology at home. I was really big on new technology, and I also use assistive technology to access my everything on the computer or on my phone. So uh, the masters in inclusive design really brought to light techniques that people can do to make their products usable to as many people as possible. And it's never possible to be usable to everyone, but inclusive design is the philosophy to try and to continue innovating so that more people can use your products. And so I thought that was a really awesome idea, and my main focus there was on geographic maps, and that's because nobody had really taken the time to spend on making maps accessible to blind people. And during that program, I ran a study where I learned that less blind people view less than one map a year, and that's across all different modalities. And it's shocking compared to sighted people who view more than 100 maps a year, at least. Like that's like minimum. So there's a huge disconnect there, and that's
Definitely.
my journey for maps. And now I'm getting my PhD at Georgia Institute of Technology, researching non-visual digital maps.
I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, so
Love that.
that's my story.
Oh my goodness, this is so great. And I think that it's so important to understand that, again, when we talk about maps, it's a little bit tricky. I've seen a lot of maps everywhere, Brendan, in companies for events, even for how do you call it again? Whenever there is an incident happening at the company, they show you a map in case of exit, in case of
Emergency maps,
emergency.
yeah.
Yes, the emergency maps. Or sometimes if you have to go to a place, to a location, again, maps are used. And gosh, there's so much. But you know what? You shared a clip with me. I would like to share that clip with the audience, if that's okay. Let me share the clip so people can perceive actually what people who are using a screen reader hear when they access a map. You know, oftentimes we think that they will kind of perceive everything that we sighted user can see, but it's actually not always true. So let me share that little clip quickly here. Oh my goodness. So here it is. I think I probably have Brendan. I will have to remove ourselves, but let's try first.
Clickable show street map radio menu item check sub menu out of menu bar map clickable blank blank blank.
There you have it. I don't know if you could hear that, but literally, the map is rendered as blank, blank, blank. And some maps are just rendered as graphic. That's not helpful. Brendan, can you tell me what are the challenges that usually people who are navigating with the screen reader encounter when they navigate map in general? And that can be from your own experience or from the experience of the community of people with visual impairment or who are blind.
So I want to start by saying screen readers are incredible pieces of technology. They make like everything on the computer accessible. The things they do not make accessible are images. And right now, maps are images. And an image is basically just a collection of pixel colors that are presented without any kind of what we call semantic information. And in HTML or on the web, these would be things like headings or links. And maps are exactly the same way. They can have semantic information attached to them, and so these would be called vector maps. And so some issues that blind people face when trying to access a map, well, I would say the circumstances under which you would want to access the map are, say, for example, you want to buy a house, which is kind of a common thing that people want to do. And you want to check out, okay, how's the neighborhood here? What's the crime rate? Where's the nearest bus stop to this house? Where's the train station away from this house? How are the sidewalks in this neighborhood? All of that is something that's present on mini city maps or mini maps where you can go and explore around a neighborhood. Those are blank to blind people. Election maps. This year in the U.S., we have the elections that are coming up, and viewing the results of those elections are right now pretty much a table. And so you can go through and view the states and say, okay, well, Alabama has 50%, but this idea of a blue wall or a red wave or whatever they call it is completely inaccessible. You have no idea what they're talking about. Like, you can conceptualize it, but a blind person has never really experienced that. Mostly because you can't make a tactile graphic of that, of something that's so interactive in real time. Same thing for hurricane maps. Trying to tell where a hurricane is. I had a deaf-blind person that I spoke with, and they told the agency that is supposed to alert blind people of when they should evacuate. They're supposed to give you a call. So they told them, I'm deaf-blind. Let me know if I need to evacuate. And the hurricane came and blew it was blowing around their house, and they were wondering, was I supposed to evacuate or not? But there's no way for him to tell because, of course, he can't view the map. And he ended up needed to evacuate, but they didn't call him to tell him he needed to do that. So he could have died because nobody told him to get out of the house. So, these are some examples, and there are just millions of these examples. And plus, there are more than 20 professions that require the use of geographic maps, and they're all completely inaccessible to blind people to do them independently. You have to have somebody sitting next to you reading that map to you if you want to be like an oceanographer or somebody like that, who's viewing maps professionally.
Oh my goodness, there's so many places where map are used, and I can see how limiting they can be for people who are blind or people who have a career that requires the perception or the viewing, quote to quote, of a map, the understanding of a map. I want to ask the audience, where else have you seen a map being used in your own experience? Is it at your work? Is it at the school? Where? Can you just share a few examples in the comment section? I love when people just engage with us and let us know, hey, yes, I've seen a map here. I've seen a map here. So don't feel shy. Let us know. Share with us. We're here to collaborate together. We're here to engage together. I'm excited about this topic. Brendan, I see a few comments. Let me just go through them. I see Safe said hello from Georgia. Hi, Safe. I see Laura said hi, Brendan. Good to see you. I still teach at CSU East Bay. So, Brendan, that message is directly from
my alma mater, where I went, got my undergrad. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And I see Karuna said hello. Hi, Karuna. I see as well Sonja. She said at some point that the video stopped, but Sonja, I hope the video is now working for you. Let me know in the comment. All right, so I've also answered a few questions. Let's see. I see Steph said, Scott blank, LinkedIn start the stream with the volume off. Oh, okay. She's helping someone else. Thank you so much, Steph. Yes. Thank you so much, Steph. And I see Ariel said, thanks, Flora. Great to have you, Brendan, today. Brendan Ariel is also an incredible person who's blind. He lost his sight 7 years ago, and he's an engineer, software engineer. This is so cool. All right, so I see a few more things. I see, oh, thank you. I see Steph said when you are looking for hotel or vacation rental. That's so true. I see the map all the time, especially when you have to head there, right? When you have to go there, you need to see where you're going.
I mean, even to know if it's in near the city center. I mean, you don't want to get a house that's out in the boonies, especially if you can't drive.
Yes, it's so true. I see Sonja said in school for students who are blind. That is so true. She said seats on airplane too. You know, that's a big one because from us, sometimes when we think about map, we think about outdoor map. But there is more than just the outdoor maps, right, Brendan? There are maps, indoor maps, and Sonja is mentioning airplane. We're gonna get to that even in that discussion. So, Sonja, thank you for sharing as well. I see Frankie said health data. Yes. Like COVID cases is often presented in map. That is so true. Oh my goodness. All right. I see Laura also said, as a teacher, I need to help to make maps and graphic accessible. Yes, they are very important in the fields of oceanography, as you mentioned, but even more so in climate science. I mean, maps are really used everywhere. I see it says, Laura says graphs also. Oh, that is so
Mhm.
true. And I think Karuna said, wonder if Google Maps are accessible. Woo, Karuna, I love this question. Yes,
That demo I
Brendan,
gave was pretty much of a Google map.
tell me, is Google Map accessible?
Not for the map piece. For turn-by-turn directions, it's great, and for accessing the buttons around the map, it's awesome. But actually accessing, the what makes up the spatial information in that map, completely blank.
Yes, that is so true. We have about 30 minutes left to go through, so I'm going to make sure that we get incredible answers from Brendan. Brendan, I don't want you to leave us now, but we have the time to follow through. Let me ask you this question. Why? Because oftentimes when we say, okay, the maps is not good because it's not helping here, it's not helping here, it's not helping a community. We've seen map in many places. Why do we want people to pay attention to maps? Why do we want leaders to pay attention to map? Is there any, financial impact to making map inclusive and accessible to all?
So there are around 30 million digital geographic maps on publicly facing websites. And in the US, in Europe, Canada, and Australia, and many other countries in the world, public facing content is required by law to be accessible. And so those 30 million maps on the web need to be accessible, and that's just a legal reason. You can get fined or sued if you're not accessible. That's point A, and the minimum cost for a digital accessibility lawsuit is around $25,000. So it can go up significantly from there. So that's one reason. But it shouldn't be your primary reason. There are 285 million blind people in the world, and none of them really have good access to these geographic maps. Low vision users can kind of hobble by and use some of the visual aspects, but it's not pleasant. Around 44% of blind people will switch to another company that is more accessible if the company they're currently trying to access is not accessible. And blind people are not the only ones who have problems with geographic maps. Keyboard only users, so people with different mobility impairments that might be using a switch or a control device. People who are colorblind or often have difficulties, viewing the different colors on maps because there's no patterns or alternative colors. There are people who are just unable to read maps for one reason or another, and they also need an alternative way to access geographic maps. And the disability market in general is around $4 trillion with a T, so it's massive. And a lot of these folks are not able to access geographic maps, and so just being able to access a customer base that's that big is an incredible opportunity for companies, and it's really a silly option not to make your stuff usable to these customers, because they're there and you don't need to do any extra marketing other than saying, hey, we're inclusive to you. We want you as a customer. Come spend money with us.
Yes, and I think that what people sometimes forget is that people with disabilities, meaning clients, users, whenever they find a solution that is inclusive, they are so loyal to that solution, to that
Yes.
brand, and they invite even more people. Sometimes it blows my mind because leaders or business owners think that when they have to help someone with a disability, it's just helping that single person. I mean, Brandon, your mom is here. A person with a disability has a family, they have friends, they have networks, they have people who work with them, they have maybe clients they can recommend a solution to. So guess what? If you're closing the door to one person with a disability, you are actually closing the door to a village. So and that is business one-on-one. So really, I love how you're sharing the statistics around, why is it important. One of them is definitely, we're talking about law, right? If you are not making your content inclusive and accessible to everyone, you might, lose branding reputation, or your company might lose their reputation. You might get sued. If you are compliant, you will attract so many people who are always gonna increase your marketing strategy. I mean, this is crazy, but let me just stop here. I can go on and on. One question that I want to ask you, Brendan, because you said that there is a solution. There is a solution that people can leverage to make their maps inclusive and accessible. And gosh, I want to know more about that solution. But before that, I want to share a clip that you shared with me. We were talking about maps that are rendered as blank, blank, blank by the screen reader. Let's hear a more inclusive and accessible map. And this clip was provided to me by Brendan. Thank you, Brendan. So let's do that now. I think it's just crazy not to make maps inclusive and accessible, but let's just share that clip.
This is a non-visual version of an Audium campus map. We're currently at the Visitor Center, and we want to go to the Flight Project Center. I'm going to open a list of all the actions you can do in Audium that's first letter navigable by pressing F2.
Open main menu. Enter. G. Get. G. Go to dialog. Enter. Go to dialog object. Clickable. Search property page object combo box collapsed has. Enter. Search property page. F. A. T. Down arrow. JPL building 321. Flight Project Center. Enter. Toolbar. Go button. Down arrow. Listen button. Down arrow. Description button. Down arrow. Directions button. Enter. JPL building 321. Flight Projects Center. Building is 333.9 meters ahead and to the right.
So we can tell it's quite a distance away ahead and to the right. I'm going to escape out of this dialog.
Escape.
And turn on a radar.
R. Radar enabled.
That will beep in the direction that we need to go and get faster as we get closer. Now I'm going to use my arrow keys to move around the map. Every arrow press will move me 4 meters in that direction, and that's because I have my step size set to 4 meters. I can have it set to whatever I want it to be.
Right arrow. JPL building 249. Visitors Center. Building 301.
And what we heard there was the name of the object that we're on, Visitor Center, the type of the object, building, and some coordinates that tell us where we are on the map, along with a short sound representing the Visitor Center.
Right arrow. Empty space. 3.
Empty space just means that there's no data for this location, which is pretty typical for maps. There's a lot of empty space on maps.
Right arrow.
Now I hear a building to our right, and I'm going to go investigate it.
Right arrow. JPL building 339. Cuisine Cafe.
Cool, there's a cafe to the right of the Visitor Center. Now I'm going to open the Nearby Objects menu and see if there's a road that we can follow to the Flight Project Center. I'm going to press F2.
Open main menu. R. Nearby Objects menu. Filter objects 1 of 9. Down arrow. JPL building 300. Down arrow. JPL building. Down arrow. Mariner Road. 35.6 meters ahead and to the right.
So the road is ahead of us and to the right. I'm going to close out of this menu.
Escape. Application.
And go find the road and follow it.
Up arrow. Empty. Up arrow. Mariner Road. 320. Right arrow. Mariner Road. Right arrow.
Now, I hear something behind us, and so I'm going to go investigate and see what that is.
Down arrow. JPL Building 301. Project formulation.
Cool, so project formulation is in between the visitor center and the flight project center. I'm going to return to the road and continue.
Up arrow. Mariner Road. Right arrow.
Alright, and we finished the road, but I hear that we're super close to our destination, so I'm going to continue.
Right arrow. JPL Building 321. Flight Projects Center.
And we've made it!
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Oh wow. What do you think, audience? Let me know in the comment. How do you feel about this inclusive, accessible map? It's just incredible. And I love, Brendan, that you said that you can get options as to what kind of content you want to hear. So you can choose to have the details. I mean, I'll let you talk about it. What is Odium? What is this solution? And we have about 2 or 3 minutes, I will say, to wrap up very soon.
Yeah, so this is Audium from my company, XR Navigation, and it's based off the research that I've been doing as part of my PhD. And we've had people actually physically draw, like blind people, physically draw content from what they're viewing on this map, and they get about 90% accuracy, 85 to 90% accuracy after redrawing content from this map. So it's really awesome. It's super effective, and the it can use the exact same data that sighted people use when they rendered their maps. So it's called vector data, and it's it is something that is what powers most interactive maps today. And so all we need is vector data with a name attribute in the different the geographic features and like visitor center, and that's all. And it'll just render it automatically. And so this is super easy to create. It fits with the existing pipelines for rendering maps, and it's fully web accessibility AAA compliant, which is way above the requirements. So
Amazing. I love it. I'm excited. I mean, I've seen a lot of blank maps out there. So this one was just incredible. But you even mentioned it doesn't stop there. It's like we said, it's not just outdoor, because this example was an outdoor, but it can also be used to map seat location in the airplane. I was like, what?
I cannot choose a seat on an airplane independently without going and asking somebody for help.
Wow. So this is really good, because you also mentioned that it can even help people who are looking for the Uber, right? Or Uber Eat or Uber Drive. Usually that works with a map, but having a perfect, inclusive, accessible map can actually make client go for it independently. They don't need to have someone else to help them. And this is really how you make money. When you remove those gaps, you get more people to go through and purchase what they want. I want to show that short clip as well. I was like, oh, what? Map in the airplane for the seat location? This is incredible. So let me share that as well.
Alt Control 1.
This is an airplane seat reservation map using Audium. And I'm going to use my arrow keys to move around and check if there's a place for my wife and I to sit together that is nearby a lavatory. So I am going to navigate around with my little character.
Right arrow, Sita, row 25, open.
Right, so that's open, and that's near the window.
Right arrow, seat B, row 25 and reserved.
Right, that's closed, and it is in the middle, so we can't sit there.
Right arrow, seat B, right arrow, seat C, row 25 and reserved.
All right, these are both reserved.
Right arrow, empty.
And that's the end of the row. I want to go down and see what's the row behind me.
Left down arrow, seat C, row 26, open. 3.
All right, that's open.
Left arrow, seat B, row 26, open.
Cool, so that's open as well. So we could press enter and select both of these seats for my wife and I, and let's see if there's a lavatory.
Right, down arrow, empty, down arrow, lavatories.
All right, there's a lavatory. Cool. That's a really good place for us to sit, although we could check some of these other places to see if there's a closer couple seats, but this is fine.
Are you kidding me? This is a game changer. I just love it. And the fact that is accessibility compliance and level triple A. I mean, this is just mind blowing. I see a few comments, Brendan, and we are almost at the end of the session. So I want to thank everyone. Please thumbs up, share in your network, and connect with Brendan. But before that, let me just quickly acknowledge some of the comments, and then we should be good to go. But I just love it. I see uh Laura was asking, how does XR navigation work? Laura, please connect with Brendan to have further conversation. I think it's just gonna be incredible. I see Karuna said, whoa, so amazing. Thank you, Karuna, for sharing. Rebecca said, this could be very helpful to use during orientation and mobility instruction for previewing a route. Yes, I love it. I see Sonja says, so cool, so inclusive, so accessible. We want things like that. I see Arya said, mind blowing, Brendan. You made it. This is great. Oh my goodness. Steph said, this is incredible. What will it take for all maps to be like this? Especially the large providers like Google and Apple Maps. I hope someone is hearing this message right here. I see a lot of more comments, but we are up and running. So I will read all of those later on. I want to thank everyone for joining us. But Brendan, before we leave, where can people connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn and send me a message, Brandon Biggs. You can also go to my company's website, xrnavigation.io. And if you want to learn more about the research that I'm doing, you can go to my profile at Smith Kettlewell Eye Research Institute, which is a company that's helping produce Audium. That's ski.org. And there are many different places to just Google my name, and you'll find many different places where you can find me as well. So thank you, and contact me. Let's talk.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. Brendan, thank you so much for joining me today. It was just mind blowing to see that solution because, to your point, when we take a Google map, it just takes you from point A to point B, but this one gives you so much more and it's flexible enough to be used in any spaces, even in the stadium when you're looking for an event with your family and so much more. But you know what? Enough about it. Thank you so much for everyone for joining, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye, y'all.
Thank you, Flora.